baby, I'm trying to get away. Trying to lock in the guap, trying to block all the pain. I'm a blind little boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been plotting a lot, now I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard, 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the box and I'm copping the pain. We out for the stars, we're a tropical place. Ooh, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy, the mission is steady. Your bitches are jelly, I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies, I'm itching and ready. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know what the bros, I got Richard and Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti, yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm taking the ball like Durant do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, not taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in a great estate.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. That's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and I just watched Peyton Manning miss his first attempt at a 25-yard field goal, and Eli is up next.
It's just like, when do we eventually learn how to kick a ball? Like, when you watch like people kick a ball, it's like I showed you the video of the Sunderland striker trying to throw an American football. We can't throw that shit, but oh my god, like you guys also haven't learned to kick a ball.
Pat McAfee just did a whole thing last week breaking down why Aussies can't play in the NFL and why there's less and less Aussies playing in the NFL football.
Yeah, Aussie rules kickers are like around though. They are in the NFL and those.
I guess there used to be a lot more in the 80s, and Pat breaks down why they can't hold up in today's NFL.
Yeah, it must be, but it's just, I think it's quite funny that the Americans have created a society.
Hit the crossbar.
Americans have got a strange sporting society where two people in every school learn how to kick a ball, and then everybody else learns how to play with their hands. That's literally it.
I'm not gonna lie, every kicker I've ever had on a football team when I played was a soccer player. They just went and got the soccer player who could kick the ball the farthest.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Well, Brandon Aubrey proved.
There's something to that, right? Like, okay, I played soccer until I was 11, and then it just disappeared for a couple of years because I come from a place where people didn't play it, and then it came back. But there's something to kicking a ball repeatedly your whole life to build strength, right? Like in the leg to build emotion. So
yeah, well, it's like British kids, like we probably kick a ball more than we throw it. Because we grew up playing like football like the whole time, like soccer, football the whole time.
I don't know how it works. Do you have to try out for soccer teams over there when you're like say 15?
What do you mean? Like good ones and stuff like?
Yeah,
no,
like,
not really.
So
we just have loads.
Well, okay, so let's say you take not the top kids, not even the second tier kids. Take the third tier kids in England. They probably kick the shit out of our high school teams.
Yeah, they destroy you, but that's just because they grow up with the ball at our feet. Like we play the ball at our feet the entire time, right? It's like I've said a couple of times. Like I remember going to Thailand, and like there's these kids there that think like I'm some amazing footballer. I played in like the 5th or 6th division. Like I was in the 6th worst league under 14s football just in my town. Like that's how many football teams there are at that age group. It's like there's 6 divisions just in my town of 100,000 people, and I was in that 6th division. But I go to Thailand and they're like, "Oh my god, you're so good, you're so good," and I'm like, "I'm really not that fucking good. I just like grew up with that on my feet." And it's the same with like Americans. Like me and my dad and my brother have learned how to like spiral a football, but actually I didn't learn how to do that until I was like 22. You know, like it's quite a different game.
And they have pictures of me in my diaper running around with a football. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And fuck me if I'd be able to ice skate. Like I can't skate. I've done it twice, and like I can't do it at all.
I started playing hockey at 3, so that's something that I like never even thought of being a thing. You know?
Yeah, grew up with skates on the feet. Well, today, Jay, it is a big day. It is Super Bowl Sunday. Jay has the real talk in the background, which actually makes it look like the sun is setting on the NFL season because the full moon is rising. I guess that's what you meant. That's for Jay's new old show coming out, Real Talk. Go watch it. It's got a lot of fun views on politics that I think you should all listen to and give him some debates in the comments about. But today's show, Jay, is the last Yankee and the Brits Super Bowl show of the season, NFL talk of the season. And Jay, what we're going to be talking about today is just some breaking NFL news. We're going to go a little bit into some Super Bowls from the past, just some general Super Bowl chat. We're then going to be talking about some prop bets, like what novelty bets you should be going for, what are some of the bigger deals and stuff like that with the FanDuel specials that we'll talk about that you can bet on. And I've got a few here that we'll talk about and we'll say whether we'd bet for that or not. And then at the end of the show, we'll be giving you our favorite moments of the season. We'll be letting you know our favorite moments, favorite memories of the season before we let you guys go. And then we start with our post Super Bowl show stuff. And then we'll be talking into the off season about a lot of draft stuff. And Jay, breaking NFL news, not that breaking, but has come out in the past week or two. Myles Garrett trade request from the Cleveland Browns. Noted to say the Browns have said they won't be trading him, but doesn't feel like they have an option. But where do you think it'll land and how much do you think it'll take to get Myles Garrett out of Cleveland?
They have to say they're not trading him or everybody tries to lowball him, right? So they're like, we're not trading him. And then I think it takes a minimum of 2 1s. I think it takes a minimum of 2 1s. And at this point, I've seen reports to every team. There is teams that make sense to the team, and then there is teams that make sense to Myles Garrett, right? Mm-hmm. So, and people are going to say, well, he can't veto a trade. Well, he can by just saying, I'm not re-signing with you. And there's no way they're going to bring a guy in. And then, or you end up with what the fuck was the guy's name with Hassan Reddick? You end up with the whole Hassan Reddick thing if you don't get a deal done before you trade him. Patriots makes sense for the Patriots. Does not make sense for Myles Garrett, right? So it's where does the best fit go? I don't know if they'll do this, but in my head, could you see him lined up on the same defensive line with Verse? Send him to LA.
The LA Rams have created a fantastic young defense there. They've got Verse and they've got Fisker at D tackle as well, where they've got a really young defensive line where they can probably afford, especially if they get Cooper Kupp, who we're going to be talking about as well, if they get his wage bill off the books too, then they have the room. The important thing to talk about here with Myles Garrett is, it'll take 2 1s and probably a 2 or a 3, but it'll also take making Myles Garrett the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Like, that's what this will also take to get Myles Garrett into the building. So who are the teams that are able to do that? For me, definitely it makes sense for the Rams to do that. It feels like they're just a couple of players away, and they may as well continue while they've got Matthew Stafford as well. And they probably need a wide receiver as well, but you can pick that up in this draft class. Also important to note that it's not a particularly strong blue chip draft class this year. It's a very good 2nd, 3rd, 4th round draft class, but blue chip players, not great. So maybe this is a year to give away a first. Like, nobody's complaining in Philadelphia that you gave away a first for AJ Brown, are they? Like, Myles Garrett I think he is for first. The teams that I keep on coming back to are the Dolphins. If you can get him signed there, a team that it definitely makes sense is the Commanders for me as well, because it feels like they're just a couple of blue chip players away. But then I look at these teams where it's, do you know what? New England might make a little bit of sense because New England have...
Not him. It's like Dolphins, I don't think makes sense for him.
Well, it depends how far you think away the Dolphins are, right? Like, the Dolphins actually do have a pretty decent roster. It's if they added a blue chip DN who very rarely gets injured, like, would that make a lot of sense there as well? I keep on coming back to Philly. I have no idea how they'll do it. Like, that's fucking witchcraft if they manage to get it through, but they might. And Jay, the Vikings have the room to do this. You don't want it?
No. Why do I want to take on a guy who's going to make more than Justin Jefferson when we're still like building out? We need corners. We can sack the quarterback. We need fucking corners. We need guards. Like, there is so many other places I'd rather see. And it's not a shot at Myles Garrett. I just really like Dallas Turner. I really like Jonathan Grenard. I really like Van Ginkel. Like, I think they're really set up on the defensive line. So it's not against him. It's just, I think there's bigger needs. Like, go get me a shutdown corner. Go get me a number one guard. I mean, that's the kind of thing as a Vikings. The thing is, those aren't sexy, right? They're not sexy like a wide receiver, a defensive end. But, like, go get me, like, some corners that can help the pass rushers we already have.
Yeah, Myles Garrett makes the perfect difference.
We don't have a lot of fucking draft picks this year.
Yeah, that is true. Myles Garrett does make the perfect difference, though, to a team that has a rookie quarterback contract in the building. Like, he makes the perfect difference there. But I suppose you have the Justin Jefferson contract as well.
Yeah. You're paying JJ 35. And then you still got to re-sign. You're going to have to give Byron Murphy like $20 million a year. Like, there's guys who need to get paid right now for the Vikings. You just paid Christian Darrisaw huge money too. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people saying the 49ers as well.
If they're getting rid of Debo, that's the rumor that came out today, is they want to trade Debo. So that could free up room.
Yeah, I suppose you get rid of Debo, and depending on what you do at the quarterback situation, which I really think the 49ers, if they want to play the way that the 49ers play, Sam Darnold would be the perfect person for them to bring in there. Get rid of Brock.
And then 30 this year anyway.
No.
I think they're going to tell him, go play in year 4, and we'll worry about you after.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the team I would like to see him on is the Dallas Cowboys, but it's going to be a struggle to play Dak.
Yeah, you're already over the
Micah, Myles Garrett. Like, Parsons' deal is coming up, so it'd be pretty astonishing.
And you're a handful. You're one of the handful of teams right now going into next year are over the cap.
Yeah, over the cap, didn't make the playoffs. It's great, but let's be real. Where's Myles Garrett going to make it? For me, Commanders, Eagles, 49ers. I love the Rams shot. I think the Rams would be the place I'd most want him to go. But the big team where Myles Garrett is probably going to go is the Kansas City Chiefs if they win the Super Bowl.
And this is the thing. The team he would best fit in, they will not trade him to. The Ravens would be the perfect fit, but they will not trade him in the division. So, but Buffalo is another place because I see Von Miller being long in the tooth. Do you want to live in Buffalo? I mean, I know you're in Cleveland now, which is already a cold armpit. Do you want to move to the other armpit of America? I don't know. So, I mean, does he take maybe a little less money to go to a place that's a little nicer to live? I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose that's the question with things like New England as well, because New England is, as I understand it, is a very nice place to live, right?
But it's cold too.
Living in Boston, it's cold, but like some people like the cold. Like I like the cold. So, but like living in Boston, cool city to live in, like face of a historic franchise. They have their franchise quarterback in place. It's how long do you think it'll take them to rebuild that offensive line? Do you like Mike Vrabel? Like, I think the Patriots actually makes pretty decent sense, especially if you want to get out of Cleveland, because Cleveland have just totally hamstrung themselves in their ability to move forward. What's happened here is Myles Garrett has gone into a meeting with the GM, and the GM they've laid out their plan for the future, and Myles Garrett doesn't like it, and he's out of there.
He's not a fan of Kirk Cousins, from what I heard. I don't have in-depth sources, just from watching shit and reading. I guess the plan is to bring in Kirk at the veteran minimum once they cut him, and I don't think Myles loves that.
Yeah, I wonder if Atlanta's like a good spot as well. Like Atlanta, the Falcons are in desperate need of a pass rush. Yeah, great city, desperate need of a pass rush. Like division, that's definitely winnable as well. I do think the Falcons have a pretty decent team, and Michael Penix is obviously on his rookie deal as well, so they can afford to pay him. So it's the income state tax in Georgia is pretty low. Is it 0 in Georgia?
No, I don't believe so, but I don't know for sure.
But
the Texans,
it's pretty low though.
Texans on a rookie contract with 0 state tax.
Yeah, they've just got to draft interior offensive linemen like fucking crazy though, don't they?
And it doesn't mean that they're gonna. They're not necessarily guaranteed to get Danielle Hunter back either.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, there's some great. Basically, every team wants Myles Garrett. There's a few teams that Myles Garrett wants. There's a few cities that Myles Garrett might want as well. That not necessarily the team, but the
A
city.
scary thought is he'd be a perfect fit in Green Bay.
Yeah, I didn't want to say Green Bay because I just don't want it to happen. I also Green Bay as well is how much do you trust Jordan Love? Do you want to go to that division with the Lions, with the Vikings, with the like? There are reasons to not go to Green Bay. No offense, Jay. Like, do people like to go to Green Bay? The Lions don't have the cap space to make it work. I don't think.
What I've noticed about ex-players is that come here, under 30, not the biggest fans. Over 30, really love the Green Bay area. But I think that's because you're in a different spot in your life and you're not clubbing and all that shit.
Yeah, and I suppose if you've lived in Cleveland your whole NFL career, then it's not too bad. God, that's a lot of strays for Cleveland. Jay, another player that is on the trade block, so didn't request the trade, wanted to finish his career in LA, is Cooper Kupp, but he's been put on the trade block. It looks like.
I call
Jay,
bullshit.
where do you think you call bullshit? Gone.
They're not going to trade him. They're praying somebody will trade for him. They're not going to give him 20-some million. They are going to have to cut Cooper Kupp. They're going to have to cut him. So when they release him, he'll be able to go sign with whoever he wants. That's what I truly believe.
Yeah, definitely. So there's no way that Cooper Kupp gets traded.
I know where he should go.
Go on.
Minnesota, you know the offense. You come in right away. You, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison could be so interchangeable that there doesn't necessarily have to be a 1, 2, and 3. And Jordan Addison's probably going to catch a 4-game suspension going into the beginning of the year for that DUI on the edibles. Yeah. So I don't know. Cooper Kupp, you don't even have to learn a new offense.
Yeah, I think with Cooper Kupp in the Vikings as well, like, so the reason that Cooper Kupp isn't going to get paid, the reason why he was terrible, whoever picked him up in fantasy this year was crazy as well, was because his injury history is horrendous. Like, he can't string 2 games together with any decent levels of production. His breaks don't look right. If he's playing on the reports are if he's playing on a hard surface, his knees can't take it for a full game, never mind trying to string a couple together. And the production just isn't there from him this season. Like, he was getting more and more noticeably taken out of the offense as the Rams went forward, and obviously as Puka was taking over as well. So Cooper Kupp is the perfect low usage wide receiver. Like, the constant professional, solid hands, runs good routes, like definitely runs good routes. It's just, does he have the ability to get open? Well, he doesn't have the ability to get open if he's on your best or second best corner. But if he's going down to the third, fourth best rookie corners, Cooper Kupp going against him is nasty. So you're looking at those teams that already have 2 wide receivers. So you are looking at the Vikings, great spot for him to go. You're looking at the Bengals, which would be a good spot for him to go, depending on what happens with T. Higgins coming out of there as well. Obviously, Detroit would be a place for him to go. Yeah, the fucking Eagles, who seem to be able to pick up everybody.
Also,
as well.
The Commanders, because Brown's all right, man. People like, I think you need more weapons, but Brown's all right, and you already have Scary Terry. So Scary Terry, Brown, and fucking Cooper Kupp. Yeah,
what about if he doesn't want to leave LA? Like, he's got his life set down in LA. Like, the Chargers would be a great spot for him as well. Like, you could see him. I saw him on a podcast. I saw him on with Julian Edelman, Cooper Kupp, and they were like, "Oh, people say that we play the same, but we don't. Our games are nothing alike. I wonder why they think we play the same."
Yeah.
Do you think it's got something to do with
Edelman's games with names?
Yeah. It's like, do you think it's something to do with our beards? Do you think it's something to do? Oh no, it's because we're white. So I was about to say, like, oh, he plays a similar game to Lad McConkey, and then like stopped myself, thought about it, and is it just because he's white? But I don't think so. I think they do play like quite a similar game. X receiver, smaller in stature than a normal X receiver. They go well. So yeah, there's loads of teams out there for Cooper Kupp, but the only teams that are out there for Cooper Kupp do want him on a veteran minimum. The only teams that might want to bring him in are those teams that have so much cap space that bringing him in on that deal as a mentor, paying him as a mentor and as a wide receiver. So the Patriots, the Browns, like these, the Patriots, the Bears, like those teams that have huge amounts of cap space make a lot of sense too. Jay, there's also been some coaching news. New Orleans Saints head coach search. The New Orleans Saints job still hasn't been taken because they're the last place at the table, so they have the time to do it. And I think the reason they're taking this time to do it is they might have found who they want.
Oh, they already have an agreement. It's the whole Kevin O'Connell Vikings deal.
Yeah, the person that they want is in the Super Bowl. So it seems like Kellen Moore is going to be the New Orleans Saints head coach. What do you make of that, Jay? Kellen Moore to go get his head coaching job. Finally, I think he's deserved it for a few years.
I think if you're Kellen Moore, you have to take it when you're offered a job. There's only 32 of them, but it is not a good job to take right away. And I pray that they negotiated some leeway in there, because you have to have a dumpster fire of a season this year. You have to, just because you have such bad cap problems. You have to fix them.
Yeah, I agree. I think what the Saints need to do for me is actually what Kellen Moore might be quite good at, is this: find the young players in the team that are worth it, are worth keeping around. You want to have in the building. You're going to build this culture around. Kellen Moore, ex-backup quarterback, so played behind Tony Romo and was doing it with the practice squad the whole time. So with those younger rookies, with those younger guys, I think he's a good coach of the younger players in the league. And
let's not forget, Kellen Moore in college beat Derek Carr 57-7.
I actually remember rating Kellen Moore, by the way, just to be out there. Obviously a lefty QB, which is not something that you see a lot of the time, which I think would have made him a really interesting hire in Atlanta, to go coach Michael Penix, or in Miami as an offensive coordinator to go coach Tua as well. Go get the lefty quarterbacks together. But I think from what I've seen with Kellen Moore, obviously he guided a young Dak Prescott through through his first season to a really successful first season, which was a really young Cowboys team as well. He was the offensive coordinator during that time too. So he's good at coaching those young players, which is what you have to do for the Saints. But what New Orleans can't do is get on Kellen Moore for having a shit season.
No, you got to give him 3 to 4 years to even start to turn this around, because he's got to find a quarterback too. Not only do they have to get the cap right, he's got to find a quarterback. And the last thing you want a guy to do is go in and freak out and reach for a quarterback, because then that sets you back again. There's guys I like in the upcoming draft that we can talk to in the future that I like for developmental reasons, but you can't go get him. And I mean, we've all pretty much seen Spencer Rattler's, at least so far, is not the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, because we both like Spencer Rattler, but we like Spencer Rattler as a 5th-round pick to see if it came off, right? It wasn't like he's going to be the next
someday
guy.
He could still learn how to play the position, but he got thrown to the wolves because of injuries this year and was not ready.
Yeah, I'd be tempted if I was the Saints to roll with Spencer Rattler this year as well, just under the understanding that it's going to be terrible.
I don't know if you remember, but there was one week I took Spencer Rattler as my MVP just for getting back up so many times after getting his ass whooped.
Yeah, it was the week that he got sacked 7 times.
Yeah,
and he does hold on to the ball
brutally abused and just kept getting back up.
Yeah, he does hold on to the ball a little bit too long, but that's what you're going to do when you're a wide receiver. One spends most of his time in concussion protocol and looks like he might be heading towards retirement as well. So the Saints need to hold as many draft picks as they can just to build out their roster with cheap assets this year. To hold on to those cheaper assets, move the more expensive assets, because they can't continue to be in cap hell, and they can't continue to the ownership keeps on meddling as well. That's the big thing in New Orleans.
I mean,
the ownership is really
poor. Hill a grotesque amount of money. They owe fucking Kamara a fucking ton of money. They got to start getting rid of these guys and just eating these big hits too.
Yeah, the amount of times that people have said, "Oh, if they get rid of Alvin Kamara, it looks like they're giving up on the season." And it's the only reason that you feel like you can do anything this season is because you're in a shit division. If you're getting to the playoffs, you're getting beat. And now the Bucks have passed them, the Falcons have passed them, and look, the Panthers with Bryce Young's revival, like the coaching staff there look like they could pass them as well. Going in towards the end of the season, like now is the time. Like give up this year, get rid of Alvin Kamara, and then back Kellen Moore in a couple of years with some big free agent signings once you've got the cap under control as well. Jay, there's going to be some big like off-season draft storylines as well coming through here. So I thought we could maybe just set the tone before we head off into the off-season after this Super Bowl. I thought we could maybe talk about what's going to be some big draft talk here. Jay, for you, the number one quarterback conversation from everybody is between Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Who have you got as who should be the number one quarterback off the board?
All right, I'm going to say it, but I'm going to give my explanation because there's an explanation behind this, because I do think Cam Ward probably has a higher ceiling. But Shedeur Sanders should be the number one quarterback off the board because he does everything well. Is he the best athlete? No, but he's a really good athlete. Is he got the strongest arm I've ever seen? No, but he's got a strong enough arm. Is he accurate? Absolutely. Does he understand defenses? Absolutely. So I think he does everything well, and I think his floor is way higher than Cam Ward's floor. Now, you could argue that Cam's ceiling may be higher, but I think no matter what happens, if you draft Shedeur Sanders, you get a solid guy who understands football, who does everything well, minus the athletic ability. And I'm not saying he's this guy, but a guy that reminds me of is Tom Brady. Wasn't the greatest at anything, does everything well. I don't know. I just think I don't think you'll regret drafting Shedeur Sanders, even if he just becomes a top 10, top 15 quarterback for 10 years.
The one thing I worry about Shedeur Sanders is the one thing that also makes Shedeur Sanders great is his father and like the background that comes with taking Shedeur Sanders and all of that. Like, obviously that's great. He has a dad in football. He has a dad who's a coach. He has a dad who's got a great football in mind. Like Deion Sanders has a brilliant football in mind. The issue is like the Sanderses then want to control how everything goes. And look, I think both of these quarterbacks. I think Deion.
It's weird to me.
Yeah, I think Deion and Cam both have to sit. Like Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward have to. That's
Deion has to sit because he's got half a foot.
Yeah, I feel like he could still go out and run some successful defense at safety. But I feel like they both have to sit their first season, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, and I wonder if Shedeur would let that happen, but I think he would because I think he has a good football in mind. I think what Shedeur wouldn't let his son do, and this is also because he has a good football in mind, is go to a shit team that he has no prospects of. So I think the Titans makes a lot of sense. Solid organization, solid quarterback, great road.
I believe it was Rich Eisen, but it could have been a different show this week. Where do you want Shedeur to go? And he said top 4 because I went 5.
Yeah,
so it really wasn't about and they're like, where does Shedeur want to go? And he was like number 1 overall. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't this narrative that we've been hearing in the offseason. I do think behind the scenes, if they thought maybe the Browns were going to draft him, maybe they would just call him and be like, don't waste a draft pick. But I don't think they're going to make a big deal out of it. If it happens, I don't think we'll hear about it like we did with Elway and Eli.
The Mannings, yeah. I think there is good in the organizations outside of the Browns as well that are in that top spot because
I think the Raiders would be perfect.
Yeah, the Titans are a really solid organization as well. The Giants, good big market. The Giants have had successful football seasons in the very recent past. It's not like the Jets who are constantly not successful. The Giants have just fucked up some roster building stuff recently. Their road to return isn't a long way off. The Patriots have already got their quarterback. The Jags have already got their quarterback. And then you come down to the Raiders, which would be a good place to go. The Jets, I don't think I'd want to go there at the moment. And then the Panthers. And then at 9 is the Saints. Like, the Saints would be a great place to go, depending on what those others do.
Look what Pete Carroll did with a 3rd-round pick in Russell Wilson. After they had just paid Matt Flynn a bunch of money to come there. So, like, and they brought Russell along slow. So even if you go to the Raiders and you do start as Shedeur, they are going to protect you. They are going to run the ball. They are going to play defense, and they are going to protect you. Pete Carroll might be, even though he's a defensive coach, the best landing spot for Shedeur.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think, for what it's worth, I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this class in terms of prospect. If I'm drafting number 1, I'm also drafting on upside as well. So if I'm the Tennessee Titans, I'm taking Cam Ward, and then I'm sitting him a year behind whoever the fuck I can find in free agency to come out there. Well, you could sit him behind Will Levis, but I'd rather have like a mentor guy there. But I still have this thing for Will Levis where it's like, I didn't love him coming out of the draft, but then he kind of showed me he does have the ability in the NFL. So another season with Will Levis, I don't think is a terrible thing.
Do you remember my motto the year he came out? Anybody but Will Levis.
Yeah. I do remember you saying that, actually. I remember you sending me a voice note while I was working in Colombia, and you sent me a voice note. And it's just out of the blue and said, if the Vikings fucking draft Will Levis, I'm going to kill myself. I was like,
I know, I'm going to drive to Minnesota and slap the shit out of Kwesi.
Yeah, it's just like, this would be the stupidest thing that the Vikings have ever done. And I was just like on a hill in Colombia, like listening to this voice note. And I was like, what the fuck? Like what is my life? Such a weird thing. But yeah, considering the teams that need quarterbacks there are the Titans, the Browns, the Giants, and the Raiders. Look, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for Dion if Cleveland come calling and if the Giants come calling to say no, like don't waste your pick here. I don't think that's a terrible thing for him to do either. But I would worry if I was a GM that I'd be kind of overruled.
The thing is, if you have a kid going in the NFL and you have leverage to help them have the best landing spot, we are all going to take that leverage. People can get mad because it's Deion Sanders or because of whatever. Yeah. But the truth is, we all want the best for our children, and we want to put them in the best situation to succeed.
Yeah, and I think the Ball family have ruined that kind of relationship for all of us.
Okay, I hate their dad in the media, but that is a wonderful fucking father to do whatever he can for his kids, right? Like,
yeah, and it's like he did, he's done a great thing for them, but he has caused problems for GM. So now I think that everybody is a bit scared of that, and I don't think Dion will do that. I just think Dion will do what's best for his kids, but as soon as they're in the organization, I don't think it'll be a problem. It's about getting them to the right. It's about getting them to the right situation where he then doesn't have to get involved. Then that would be even better. Jay, so number 1 overall, you take Shedeur Sanders. I'd take Cam Ward to go.
Well, the first overall quarterback.
Who are you taking 1 overall? Because the Titans are 1 over.
I'm taking Travis Hunter. I don't give a fuck who you are.
If you're the Titans, you're taking Travis Hunter over.
Every team in the league, I'm taking Travis Hunter if he's there first.
Yeah, a lot of chat about Abdul Carter.
He's amazing. Well. And if you want to go get a defensive end, I'm good with that. But I see Deion Sanders or Charles Woodson or that kind of player in Travis Hunter, and you can do so much with him on both sides of the ball. And I mean, in the return game, I bet you if you needed this kid to kick a fucking field goal, he could do it. So just give me Travis Hunter because I think he's the best playing football player in the draft.
Yeah, I just worry that the positions that he does play in cornerback and wide receiver, they're key positions on the field, obviously, in the new league that we've created. But do you want to take blue chip players at that point? But you have a blue chip player who can play both. And I really, really believe that he should just play both. He should be your 3rd usage cornerback and your 3rd usage wide receiver in both positions in his first season.
Corner.
And yeah, I'm playing him at fucking both. Like, I
but
want
I'm
him to
saying
do
he's
both.
my starting corner, and we'll sprinkle him
Yeah.
in on the offense only because
Yeah.
I feel like it's harder to find a great corner than it is. And let's not devalue corners. Look at our fucking defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm playing him at corner because I think I'll still sprinkle him in at offense, but I feel like I can find production on offense easier than I can at corner.
And the offense builds in over time as well. Like not to diminish the way that defense plays. Obviously, like locking up a zone is really important and understanding the defensive zone patterns and all of those kind of stuff. But really, what defense, especially being at corner, boils down to is that's my man. Can I outplay that man? And that's why corners are the most athletic players on the field.
You could play dude coverage with a young guy, which is I got that dude right there. Like you can play dude coverage with a young guy.
Yeah, so you can give him more defensive steps, and then the offense works in over time as well. And, I just see him maybe going to New England, and I just think if he goes to New England, I'm like, that's just the most ridiculous fit of all time. Like that's just an amazing fit for him in New England because I think the Browns will take Carter.
Carter is the only player I'm not mad at if somebody chooses over him. But even if you take a quarterback, I think you're ridiculous because I don't think any of the quarterbacks are rated as high as a football player as Travis Hunter.
Yeah, definitely. And like it's a big talk on position value to actual best player on the board. Value a lot of the time here as well.
Can help you get sacks.
Yeah, especially if it's Travis Hunter who can fly as well.
Coverage sack. So how many times do we hear that? Coverage sack, right? Like
the
receiver couldn't get open, so the slowest dude on the defense got his third sack of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's some look, I've already said it. It's not a great blue chip draft. Like the first round is a lot of second round players from the draft the year before.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of hoping the Vikings can trade back and pick up some more picks.
This is a Kawasi draft, man. This is Kawasi style draft, the perfect class for it. But Travis Hunter is a blue chip player, and Abdul Carter is a blue chip player. Where would Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders be if they came out in last year's quarterback draft? Would be interesting.
I heard somebody say, I want to hear what Chris Sims has to say, but I heard one, I can't remember who it was, but they said that they would put both of them behind. This was before they played. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and J.J. McCarthy, but they would have put him before Michael Penix.
Around there. That's where I was kind of. Yeah, that's where I was kind of thinking as well. Like, both have higher upsides than Bo Nix and Penix. Probably better arm talents than Bo Nix and Penix as well, if we're going for it. As well, do they diagnose the game as well as Penix seems to do as he's come to the NFL? But that's difficult to do at college and those to assess at college. But guys, depending on who you want to see taken first overall, please put it in the comment section below and hit the subscribe button and give us a like as well while you're at it. And a share is the best thing that we can have all together. But Jay, one of the other questions I've got is like, could we see some trade ups in this draft? Do you see any teams trying to trade up to get those blue chip players? Because as we've said a million times already in the show, there's not many blue chip players in this draft. So do you think there's going to be any teams trying to jump up and get in on the action there?
I don't know how much. I don't think we're going to see a lot in the top 10 this year. I think if you do, it's going to be a team trying to go from like 5 to 3 to get one of those blue chip guys. You know what I mean? 7 to 4, like where I think you'll see movement is in the end of the round. You're going to see people scrambling back to get 5th-year options on guys. That's what you see a lot of times, right? So you trade from early second round into the late first round to try to get a 5th round option, or you trade from 27th to 24th to try to get in front of a team for a wide receiver or whatever. But I don't think we're going to have a wild trade market this year. I think because, like you were saying, like it's a depth draft, not a top draft, right? Like top heavy. So I mean, I think you'll see more trades in the second and third round than you'll see anywhere else.
Yeah, I think for me, I agree with you. It's those back of the round things because I think there's people who want to trade back that don't necessarily need the positions up there. It's a really deep interior offensive line draft, like very deep in the interior offensive line.
Let Genty start to fall into the teens. Maybe you see somebody in the early 20s come up and get him, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah. If Ashton Genty goes past like the Cowboys, then somebody else might jump up to go get him. But it's a really strong interior offensive line draft. So if you've got a guy in that interior offensive line that's booked above everybody else, then maybe a jump up into the front of the first round for the 5th-year option and making sure you get your first guy on that board as well, because as soon as one interior offensive lineman comes off the board, I can see a run going. That's what usually happens when you have like a really strong draft in one particular position. The team that I could see kind of in that top 5, like trading up or trading back, is if I'm the Cleveland Browns, like I'm calling every team in the top 10 and calling them to see if they want my pick. Like I'm seeing what I can get for that second round pick, because for the Browns, they're so far away and they're so hamstrung by Deshaun Watson that this year is build those cheaper positions for next year, trying to get like an Arch Manning when he comes out.
You have to wait till you're on the clock, right? Because what if Carter drops to you, or what if fucking Hunter drops to you? And what if you somehow, because of the quarterbacks, are sitting there and Carter drops right in your lap right after you traded Myles Garrett?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? They probably will have traded Myles Garrett by this point, and I do think that Carter will fall to them. So if you want Carter as your Myles Garrett replacement, then that does make sense. And you have another first rounder to kind of trade back with and try and build up those things. But for me, if I'm the Browns, I'm getting the ammunition to go get the quarterback next year. So Arch Manning comes out next year, doesn't he?
He could. It's not. It wouldn't be the weirdest thing if he went back, though, either, right? Because Peyton went back. I think Eli went back. Also, you're going to be good. And if you're the Browns, you better be a little nervous that a Manning could be first overall and not want to play for you. Yeah,
exactly. I think if they handle the Deshaun Watson stuff this year, I think the Browns. The thing is with the Browns is they got themselves on a perfect footing and were starting to look like a serious organization. And then they got rid of Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson, and it's gone backwards and backwards. But I remember at the time, until the massage stuff came out, the Deshaun Watson thing wasn't a terrible trade idea. It was only after the massage stuff, which obviously Justin Tucker has now been accused of. As well,
but they made that trade after the chip came out, though. They already knew,
exactly.
Right? And
exactly. So they've got themselves in and they've got themselves in a respectable position, and now they've gone back to the Browns again.
Yeah, but he's not the same player, right? And I think something happened. I think he's beat down as a human, because I think every room he walks in, he has to think, what do these people think about me?
The other thing about Deshaun Watson is I never got the idea that he was a bad human beforehand. When this other kind of stuff has come out, I'm I could see it. But Deshaun Watson, I was that surprised me that it's come from Deshaun Watson. He seemed like a pretty well-liked teammate. He seemed like a well-liked person, in the media eye and all of that kind of stuff. So this particular string of mistakes, which they were and horrible things to do to people, will have hit him hard as well, because I imagine he's lost a lot of close friends over it and those kind of things as well. And look, Deshaun Watson shouldn't be playing football next year, due to him not being good enough, not just everything else, but also he's just not good enough. So take the money and don't play. Jay, just before we move on here, the biggest offseason storylines, what storylines do you think are going to dominate the offseason?
I think Liam Cohen's still going to be part of our off-season conversation. One, because how the whole thing went down. I think we'd already been over that if he didn't do that corny-ass Duval. I think that's going to haunt that fucking guy. And if they lose 3 of their first 4 games, they are going to play that clip over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's just so fucking stupid. Yeah.
How do you go? I mean,
Weird
okay,
guy.
everybody in the world knows it's Duval, right? Like, you just know that. And he goes, Duval. And you're like, what the fuck just happened here? And that eyebrow raise that I can't even do. That was all like fucking cringy and shit.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous. I could see Liam Cohen like coming out again. Jay, I think this story that there are two stories that are destined to dominate the offseason. It's Micah Parsons is going into his 5th-year option. Will the Cowboys sign him to a contract? Which the answer will be no, by the way, everybody, because that just seems
Jerry should announce it at
smart thing to
halftime
do.
Today. Just eat the Super Bowl up.
Yeah, while the halftime show is on, or the first time a camera goes to Taylor Swift, as Travis Kelce is down on one knee proposing to Taylor Swift, which they obviously won't do, by the way, but if that was to happen, Jerry Jones just drops the Micah Parsons contract bomb. But anyway, whether
he just walks out, snatches the mic from Kendrick.
Yeah, and Micah comes down from a helicopter, like parachutes in, like into the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be the story that dominates. And Aaron Rodgers, whether he stays at the Jets, and if he leaves the Jets, where's he going? Does he have a place anywhere else? Like, they're going to be the stories that dominate the offseason. And guys, we're going to be talking about them a lot during the offseason. So I think you should follow us, give us a like, give us a subscribe, hit the bell so you can keep up to date on those stories in the offseason as well. Jay, it is Super Bowl Sunday, so let's get into some Super Bowl discussion. Guys, if you want to see our predictions and those kind of things, I'm going for the Chiefs. Jay's going for the Eagles. If you want to see our reasoning why, watch the show on Friday. Go back and have a little look.
Yeah, I
at the
can't
show
wait
on Friday.
for the prop bets, and I have a prediction.
Yeah, you guys don't have to listen to all the fucking corny ass Fox coverage that's going on beforehand.
Yeah,
intermittent with a load of ads.
If you were watching us just now for the last 20 minutes, you got to miss the Tangerine Tyrant go off on. Okay, forget it. I'm sorry, wrong show.
Yeah, you guys get to miss some interesting ads. You guys get to miss the next.
Do not miss the ad directly after the halftime show. It's 2.5 minutes. I'm sure it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, make sure that you don't miss the next defense secretary on Fox News after the next one gets sacked as well, as he has a habit of doing that. Sorry, guys. Anyway, back to the Super Bowl. Jay, I thought we could talk a little Super Bowl history just to start off. Jay, what is your favorite Super Bowl of all time? Like, in your living memory, at least. Like, what is your Super Bowl memory that is your favorite?
Patriots Atlanta. That fucking game was so good. And I'm not a fan of either team, but that game was so good. The Edelman catch, the comeback, the fucking overtime, the fact that Kyle Shanahan could have just ran the ball 3 more times and probably won that game. That every crazy thing that happened had to happen, starting with the strip sack from Hightower. That Super Bowl was so amazing that I have rewatched that thing multiple times.
Yeah, I remember watching it in my university kitchen in first year and everybody being like, what the fuck's going on? Because none of my housemates were into American football, and we all sat down and we watched it together, eating some like American food and that kind of shit. And everybody was like, "Wow, American football's fucking amazing!" And like people were like, "Oh, we like the pageantry of the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl's fun," but they're like, "We don't really understand what's going on, but this is a sick sport, so much fun." And then the next year we watched the Rams against the whoever it was after that, where the Rams just could only put up 3 points.
Oh, the Patriots.
Yeah, against the Patriots. The Rams can only put up 3 points against the Patriots, and then that ruined American football for the house for the rest of time after that. But yeah, great Super Bowl. Obviously, who doesn't love a comeback? Jay, my favorite Super Bowl is actually the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl 49, Patriots 28, Seahawks 24. Would the Seahawks have had a second Super Bowl if they ran it with beast mode? Like the interception in the end zone, like such an amazing play, such an iconic Super Bowl play.
Here's a quick little tidbit about that. That play that was intercepted, two things. One, that was just installed the night before the game, that play. And two, Bowman was in the back, and he looked at, who was it? Malcolm Butler, and said, I am just going to blow this up. You go. That was not part of the play call. He's like, I am going to blow this up, and you go. And I know I learned this from Names with Games with Patricia and Edelman. And he just blew through the line and picked that off. So two things. And Matt Patricia thought they were going to score a touchdown because the swing route was wide open. And he just kept screaming, the swing route's open. It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown. And he said the sideline's going nuts. And like, he picked it. And Patricia's like, who fucking picked it? Like, he didn't even see the play.
Yeah, and it's a ridiculous pick as well. The actual pick is incredible, like a pick in traffic as well. I wonder how much like Pete Carroll regrets that call. Like I wonder how much Wilson regrets that throw, like all of that kind of stuff with Marshawn Lynch in the backfield as well. It's just too
and it was
too
second
tempting
down,
to just run
right?
the ball in.
So you could have just ran it second and third and fourth if you needed to and just put this thing away. I will say that I guess you have an honorable mention after this, but go ahead now that you talked about it.
I guess you throw it on second down. I'd say second and short is always a passing down for me, unless I have Marshawn Lynch in the backfield and it's for a touchdown. Like you have it second and 1 and I'm on the 40. Like second and 1 on the 40, I'm like, yeah, that's a passing down. Like because we'll just pick up this one on third down or fourth down, but not in the end zone while I've got Marshawn Lynch in the back. However, I do think that the bomb squad, the Legion of Boom, I do think they've made too big of a deal of it over like since they've come out the media. Like it could come out into the media.
But
I think they've made too big of a deal with it.
Carroll and the way he treated Russell Wilson, so that bled over into all of this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they just don't let that die. And I think like that moment will live on in NFL history for a long, long time.
Yeah. The honorable mention was, I don't remember what Super Bowl it was, the Giants versus the Bills. And the Bills could have won it with the last second kick and Christie kicked it and missed it. But I remember being young and that being such a close game. And I was a young teenager too, probably like 13. So, yeah, I remember that game vividly. So that was another one for an honorable mention.
Yeah, definitely. Jay, what do you reckon? Do you think that would be your most underrated Super Bowl team win of all time? Like, what do you think is your most underrated Super Bowl win of all time?
I think, and this, I picked them, but it has nothing to do with it. I think the Eagles with Big Dick Nick do not get enough credit for beating the Patriots in that game.
Yeah, I weirdly think with that because I thought of that and said like I can't put the Eagles, like that's ridiculous. I did think, and I went, they weirdly get so much credit for it and not enough credit at all. Like they've beaten one of the greatest dynasties of all time with a backup quarterback. To be noted, a backup quarterback who hasn't really done much since. Like Nick Foles, then it was like, okay, Nick Foles is going to go fucking crazy. Like wherever he goes, he's done nothing. Like since then, it's an amazing feat, and the way that they won it as well, they won it with Nick Foles throwing the ball, and I think it might have just been the perfect show of NFL quarterbacks are the best. If you're a backup NFL quarterback, you're still one of the best 64 quarterbacks on the planet, which means if you're the top 64, any day can be your day. And I don't think it gets talked about enough. And there should be a movie made about it. Like I won't watch it because it's about the Eagles, but like there should be.
It was the perfect storm of the perfect team with the perfect coach with the perfect quarterback. Because I don't know this for sure, but from everything I heard, Carson Wentz was never loved in that locker room. So I don't know if they win that Super Bowl with Carson Wentz, even though he was on an MVP tear before he got hurt. I don't know if they win that Super Bowl because he wasn't loved, and you really got to rally behind a guy. You know what I mean? To win that. So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, comment your favorite Super Bowl win
what is yours?
Of all time, like your most underrated. So I have two. The Saints win with Drew Brees, what it means to the city of New Orleans after Katrina.
Well,
and all
cheating
of that kind
to
of
get
stuff,
there kind of hurt their case, I think, is the point. So, but you know.
Yeah, I know, but just the things that it means for like the city of New Orleans, I kind of like the cheating behind it. Kind of makes it
and
underrated.
I think people go, and I don't do this, but I think people in their head go, "Well, you had to do a surprise onside kick to even win that game."
Yeah, but doesn't that like I feel like that just makes it as well?
But
yeah,
you know
I feel
how
like
haters
it makes
are.
Yeah, I know, and it's like Drew Brees who basically said he was out of the league because of his injury problems and all of that kind of stuff. Comes to New Orleans after Katrina, like they win. I like that one, but I think my most underrated, because of how bad of a Super Bowl it was, Super Bowl 50. The Denver Broncos beating the Carolina Panthers. Like, it was a terrible Super Bowl, like really, really boring. But I don't think we give the Broncos enough credit for winning that season with Peyton Manning's arm basically still falling off. They basically created the best defense of all time to give one of the best quarterbacks of all time the perfect send-off at the end. And I don't think that gets enough credit because of how terrible the Super Bowl was. And the fact that if Cam Newton could just fall over on top of a ball, then it probably would have ended up all different. But yeah, I kind of like that one. I'm a big fan of that. Jay, who do you think is the greatest Super Bowl dynasty of all time? Like, in terms of the dynasties, who have you got?
I mean, it's got to be the Patriots, right? Like, it's got to be 20 years of fucking and I don't remember what the number is, but weren't they to like 14 or 15 straight AFC championship games, something fucking insane like that. So, or 14 and 15 out of 20, I mean, or something wild like that. I mean, it was just fucking wild. 6 championships. Every year you thought it was the Patriots. But since that's really low-hanging fruit, if we're going to go with just a short spurt, the greatest team I ever seen in a dynasty, I don't know if you can really call it a dynasty because they only won 1 out of the 2 Super Bowls, but was that Greatest Show on Turf, was the most exciting thing with the St. Louis Rams when they hit.
Yeah, I think the St. Louis Rams are always going to be etched in eternity due to the fact that St. Louis is no longer a destination where NFL football plays either. So they're always going to be like really cherished. I think like the Patriots also, the thing that's most amazing about the Patriots is it's almost 2 dynasties. Like, I was listening to Tom Brady on the Colin Cowherd show talking about how that 10 years in the middle where they didn't win, he found just so incredibly hard. And he basically says, look, the losses are more on my record than the wins. Like, any bar I go into in New York, I'm going to be reminded of the helmet catch. Like, he was talking about this story of he was doing like a signing in New York and some kid like just walked past him and just went like that on his head, and like those kind of things. It's like the shithousery there, or like any bar he goes into, like Philly is like the Philly special, like all of that kind of stuff. Like, Eli Manning basically has got a Super Bowl because he has got a Hall of Fame account. Is going to be in the Hall of Fame, probably as a second ballot Hall of Famer, because he's beat Tom Brady twice. It's because of the person who he beat twice in that thing. So, and in the Patriots to like go those 10 years and then create another dynasty, I think is amazing. For me, obviously the Dallas Cowboys, 92 to 95, but since I wasn't born yet, I'm not gonna pick those. But I think the fact that the Cowboys haven't been to an NFC Championship game since shows the dysfunction of the organization. That meant that 92-95 is very, very impressive. But for me, it is this current Chiefs dynasty. Like, they're the closest to going to a 3-peat that we've ever seen. They could go to a 3-peat. They've managed to be stars and not have to do the whole Patriot way. Like, we talk about cheating with Sean Payton. Like, Belichick has been found of cheating. Tom Brady has been found of cheating multiple times as well.
Well, Brady
and
cheat, but we haven't got that to get into the natural gas law.
And I love that I love this Chiefs team as a dynasty. I think it's pretty.
Who's the one guy that they lost to in the Super Bowl? Oh, Tom Brady. That's right. Okay.
Tom Brady. And so, do you know what? That nearly ran into one of my most underrated Super Bowl wins. Like, nobody talks about the fact that. But then I remember that the Chiefs like don't have an offensive line. in that game. Like it was over because they didn't have an offensive line going through. All right, Jay, final one on this then, on our Super Bowl history. What's your favorite halftime show of all time?
The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, really? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I often don't watch the Super
Everybody's
Bowl
going to say Prince, and it was amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're my favorite band, so that's what I'm going with.
The Super Bowl halftime show isn't my favorite thing. I think it's a commercialization of sport that I kind of hate about American sports.
Well, I have a prediction and a prop bet about it for you coming up.
Love that. Love that. Are you excited about tonight? I've got to wake Cynthia up for.
Yeah, Kendrick's going to fucking destroy that. And my prediction is what I'm excited about because I really think this is going to happen and I can't wait to see.
Yeah, what I love about New Orleans is the music. So I would love some second line, like in there, big second line, big brass stuff. Like I remember we had a New Orleans band come over to our school and teach us about second line. Like I used to play this, I still kind of do play the saxophone and stuff like that. So I was in like a second line band with like these New Orleans guys for like a week. It was fucking so sick. So I would love to see some of that going forward in the halftime.
I wish
show.
I had a disclaimer to let you know that the views of Maddie are not the views of everybody on this show. And if you have an issue with what Maddie just said, please leave it in the comments directed towards Maddie. Thank you. Because Americans are going to fucking hate you for saying that.
I love second line. It's so good. Best halftime show for me. That one in LA was pretty special with Dr. Dre stuff. Like the microphones were a bit shit. Like they got the sound a bit off, but I think it was still pretty special watching them come on. I remember quite liking the super show that they ended up doing with like fucking Beyonce, Bruno Mars came out of nowhere. Wasn't Shakira knocking about on that one? That was pretty good.
Yeah, Usher was good
as well. But yeah, Usher was pretty decent. Rihanna was very good in recent years as well. While had she just had a baby or was pregnant?
No, she was pregnant. Well?
Yeah, pretty fucking impressive. But yeah, that's some Super Bowl history. That's some of our favorite stuff about Super Bowl. Let's get on to the current Super Bowl, the Super Bowl of today. It is Super Bowl Sunday. Jay, let's go through some Super Bowl prop bets and break them down. I've taken these all from FanDuel, everyone. So if you want to bet on any of these, FanDuel. If anybody wants to give us your favorite prop bets of all time, whack it in the comments. Let's have a look. We'll shout out some of our favorite comments on our next show and have a little chat about them there. But Jay, I thought we could start with the national anthem. What's everything going to start with? The national anthem. The over-under on the national anthem is 120.5 seconds, so 2 minutes, 0.5 of a second.
I got to be honest, I don't even know who's singing it.
Yeah, let's go work that out. I believe it is a like country singer, John Battisti, which I have no idea.
Don't even know who he is.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Just sounds.
I'm gonna say because
so
he's a country singer, under. If he was a pop singer, I could see over.
Hang on, he's part of the New Orleans musical dynasty. Like all of his family are part of this dynasty. It's like
I'm saying under because I don't think he'll hold the last note like some of them do for the 12 seconds.
Musical director at the Atlantic and creative director of the National Jazz Museum in Harlem, co-composer of the Pixar animated movie Soul. That is such a good movie, by the way. Former band leader and musical director for The Late Show, and performing the Super Bowl national anthem in his hometown is a tremendous honor for him. For me, the jazz stuff, all of that screams fast to me. That's jazz is much faster, screams a lot faster. Soul music, like the music for soul isn't like like long stuff. It's like quick, snappy music. So I'm going to take the under on that. A lot of staccato stuff. So take the under on 120.5 seconds. Jay, another one which you just have no hope of predicting. I don't understand how anybody can feel confident predicting this. The Gatorade color prediction. Jay, we've got orange. So Jay, you've got orange at plus 1,000 on orange. Plus 1,000 on orange. That's pretty good. So you've got yellow green at minus 225. So yellow green is the favorite here. Purple, which I think would just be rogue with 320. Do you know what? I'm going to take red. I'm going to take the red. I'm going to take Kansas City doing it in red. Although I think Kansas, the past couple of times they've done it in orange, but give me the red at plus 1,400 on the red.
Do you know why I picked orange? It's the best tasting Gatorade, and I feel like somebody's going to have the best tasting on the sideline.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the Kansas City Chiefs have now done it a few times where it's like, do you know what? We'll just take the best tasting one, going forward. Jay, the final prop bet here, novelty prop bet this is my favorite. Who will the Super Bowl MVP thank first? You've got God/religion at minus 110, family at plus 550, team and teammates at plus 160, the coaches are plus 1,500, team owner at 2,500, and the city/fans are 1,200, or any other on no appreciation at all plus 2,000. What have you got?
Team.
You think team first? Yeah.
I think Jalen and or Patrick would probably both go with team first. And it's somehow, if it was like Saquon, because he won the MVP, team first. So I think it would be team. I think
Mahomes would go God first. Whenever I've heard him speak, it's like, I'd like to thank God. It feels like it's just a thing that runs off an American tongue. Like, I'd like to thank God. Like, that's the first thing that people say. So I'm going to take God on that one. I will write these into the spreadsheet for our postseason spreadsheet here of the bets. Jay, what was your prop bet? What was your fun prop bet here?
Prop bet, will Kendrick Lamar say a minor? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And two, my prediction is there is a line in Not Like Us where Kendrick says, certified lover boy, certified pedophile. And they're like, there's no way he's going to say pedophile. No, he's not going to. He is going to go certified lover boy, and the whole fucking crowd is going to yell certified pedophile. And it will hit me strong. But the prop bet for me is, will Kendrick say a minor? And I say yes. That's my prop bet.
That's definitely a minor. That's a definite yes.
Well, Kendrick spent the whole week with the NFL lawyers on what he can and can't say at the halftime show.
Yeah, is Drake going to be at the Super Bowl? Would be interesting. He's watching that shit from home, surely.
I truly believe the reason Drake sued Kendrick was not over the rap beef, because that would be some bitch shit. I think the reason he sued his label was to try to stop him from playing this at the halftime show, and it didn't work.
It actually probably put it more at the top.
But I do believe the whole crowd is going to yell certified pedophile.
Yeah, what's your favorite Kendrick song, Jay?
Now it's Not Like Us. Like, Kendrick is just owning, because I'm such a rap battle guy. I love hip hop and the history of hip hop. I actually think that Not Like Us is the 4th or 5th best diss track ever in the history of hip hop.
Yeah, I think I do love that song, and I like the story behind it as well. Obviously, I'm not the biggest rap guy myself. You can probably tell that in the way that I just am. But for me, I would say I remember DNA being massive, DNA and Humble being huge when I was at uni, and I used to love those songs. So that was
Squabble.
Was I used to listen to
one.
Yeah, I used to listen to them on the way to rugby to G myself up all the time, which was good. Jay got
if
some.
Go listen to Kendrick, and you guys want outside the box. Maddie gave you a couple. Squabble Up, TV Off. Go check out all those songs too. Kendrick killed it at the Grammys. I'm not a fan of the Grammys because I think for the most part they're bullshit. But I think this year finally they got some of it right. So shout out to them for that. Yeah,
big fan of Chappell Rowan at the Grammys. Actually backing herself, one of the few people that has said on camera before, she was like, if I get invited to the Grammys, I'm going to go to in honor to my granddad because he'd want me to go. But I'm going to go and do some protest shit, is what she said like 2 years ago. And her speech at the Grammys was basically, fuck all of you. Like, you need to pay everybody a better living wage and all of that kind of stuff.
Stupid question, Maddie. If you could have one person in any genre show up in a surprise guest with Kendrick tonight, who would it be? I know a lot of people think Lil Wayne. I don't think that'll happen. Do you have a hope? Because I have somebody I hope, but it's never going to happen.
A big New Orleans second line band would be my number one.
Well, for me,
but I'd go like Ed Sheeran. I always like to see Ed Sheeran popping up.
For me,
stuff. I think he's interesting.
I think a guy that's voice would mix perfect if they could do something together. Teddy Swims, because he's been killing the music world right now too. So, and you should like that because I think he's British.
Yeah, I was going to say some British grime stuff. Like, what about like if Stormzy or like Skepta showed up would be like pretty fun as well. Like Stormzy would be pretty fucking wild, like showing up at the Super Bowl halftime show. That'd be good. You like H as well, don't you? I'm not a big fan of H personally, but you like
I
H.
love him because I like that Manchester fucking grimy fucking hip hop. Yeah. It's
big,
the accent.
Big fan of that. Yeah, Joe, we just had this is a very different chat to what I was having last night. So you guys don't know, but Eurovision is like a huge thing over here. It's becoming a bigger thing in the States as well. Latvia had their like how they pick who goes to Eurovision. The UK don't have that. They just send someone. But in Latvia, you like vote for who goes to Eurovision, and they had it last night. And some of the music from that is so fucking funny, man. So we should go watch that. And they have like some pagan, fairy, witchy shit going, which will be fun.
I think everybody who performs in that should have to have ray gun dance for them, break dance
dance in front of them. I'll be impressed if the Aussies don't crack out ray gun because weirdly the Aussies are in Eurovision, by the way. Also Israel is in Eurovision as well, like two not very European countries. Okay, sorry everybody. Jay, who have you got for the MVP pick? In this one, MVP betting odds, we've got Patrick Mahomes at plus 120, Saquon Barkley at plus 250, Jalen Hurts at plus 350, Travis Kelce at plus 1,400, Xavier Worthy plus 3,100, and AJ Brown plus 3,500.
So I don't know if people remember, but the last time they met in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts threw for over 300 yards and ran for 70. And with that said, Saquon Barkley, because I have the Eagles riding Saquon Barkley to a Super Bowl championship. Saquon Barkley, 150-plus yards, at least 2 touchdowns. But I still think Jalen Hurts runs for over 40.
Yeah, there's a crazy thing of like the Eagles haven't won a game this season where Jalen Hurts has had to throw for over 150 or something like that. So it's pretty mad until I think against the Lions as well. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes in this one because I think the Chiefs are going to get the win. And if the Chiefs get the win, chances are it'll be because Patrick Mahomes scrambles for 80 yards on top of throwing for like 280 or something ridiculous like
Can we
that.
pick Taylor Swift?
I'd be impressed. Like, you could see Travis Kelce getting it though, couldn't you? Like,
I guess, but if they're going to give it to Kelce, they're going to give it to Mahomes because he threw him the ball.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. What's your over-under on times that Taylor Swift is going to be shown on camera from kickoff to end of game?
11.
11 is the line. Okay, I'll take an under on 11.
I'll take it. Can I take the line?
Because I think the line. You've got the line. Yeah. You have the line, and I'll take the under. Okay. Everybody, let us know what you're going to bet on that line.
I think we're going to see her 4 times on the first drive.
that is the Yankee and the Brit. That is the Yankee and the Brit bet. We should do this in like our groups, like an honor bet system, like not for money, just for honor, where we set the line.
Put it in the comments if you think the crowd's going to yell "certified pedophile." Yeah. Even though in that song, to be fair, he's talking about Drake's best friend. So when he says certified lover boy, he's talking about Drake. Drake's best friend has pedophile charges. So when he says certified pedophile, he's talking about Drake's best friend. But
yeah, you could translate it to British if you guys want to, and want to do that, and call it a certified nonce if you want to write that down.
Or as they say by you, a pedophile. He's a pedophile.
Pedo. He's a pedo. Yeah, pedo.
Yeah, the pedo here and the pedo there. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever said pedophile as like a whole word. Like it's not very like pedo or nonce is the way to go. This is taking a turn. Jay, I'm going to read off the top 6 best combined specials.
For saying that word so many times.
Yeah, I know we're in trouble. Jay, I'm going to read off the top 6 specials on FanDuel for you guys to go bet on. Jay, you tell me whether you take it or you don't. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts to combine for 6+ passing and rushing touchdowns. That's a plus 320.
No.
No, I think he'll be under that as well. I think defense might win the day on this one.
I think Saquon's getting in the end zone a couple times.
Yeah. There's that other point as well.
Kareem Hunt might get in the
Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco. Yeah, good red zone options as well. Playoff record breaker Saquon Barkley to record 169 plus rushing yards. That would be the most in playoff history if he ends up doing that.
No, I have him at 150 though.
Yeah, 169 plus is a lot on this Kansas City team. I can see him doing it though. Saquon Barkley and Kareem Hunt to combine for 200 plus rushing yards. That's plus 550. You can make a decent bet on that one. Yeah, I'd take that. I'd take that as well. Any defensive player to return an interception for a touchdown.
No, but like I said, I do think Patrick throws 2 of them.
Yeah, I don't see them being returned for touchdowns just because of probably where they'll happen on the field. Jay, Dallas Goedert to record 5+ rushing yards and 6+ receptions.
I say yes on the receptions, no on the rushing yards.
Yeah, what rushing play is Dallas Goedert going to be?
Yeah, because even if they do a shovel, that's a pass. Like when he runs in front of them, so I don't know. I say no on the rushing yards.
Yeah, which is funny because it's 5+ rushing yards, just 5 yards. Either team to record 7+ sacks. That's got to be
no.
Yeah, that's a no, right? It's got to be a no. Like 2 of the best offensive lines in football. And Jay, I'll give you one more. Saquon Barkley to record 250. Saquon Barkley to record 25+ rushing yards in each quarter.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree on that one. This is also a good one, and I agree on this one. Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes to combine for 100+ rushing yards.
I got them both at 40, so it's so close, right? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because I think Jalen Hurts may get more rushing yards, but Patrick Mahomes is a scrambler, not a runner.
Yeah, I mean, but he scrambled for like 60 yards.
Yeah, but I don't think this is a defense that's going to leave the middle of the field wide open.
Yeah, it's not a big team that allows you to scramble on them. But
I don't think
Jaden Daniels got a lot of yards against them.
Plays, and I don't mean distance, I mean in time. These defenses are too good. I don't think you're going to see a 6, 7, 8 second fucking scramble from one of these quarterbacks.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd be tempted to take that one because it's plus 900. That's like a nice flyer. That one, plus 900. I'd take that. Jay, that's it for our prop bets. That's it for our Super Bowl coverage. I thought we could just go through. Give us your Super Bowl winner and your MVP picks, just so everybody knows them off the top.
Well, I took the Eagles plus 1.5, so like I could technically lose and still get my bet. But I got the Eagles winning with Saquon winning the MVP.
Yeah, for me, I've got the Chiefs winning with Patrick Mahomes securing that MVP as well. Oh, quick one. Over-under is on DraftKings is at 48.5.
Over. That's 24 apiece.
Over.
I think it's over.
I think they could get up to 24 apiece. I do like the defenses in this game. That's probably about the line. That's a good line. I'll take the over on that one as well, 24 each.
I think this game ends up, and I don't know, like maybe 24-28 type game anyway, right? So
Yeah, definitely.
24, 27.
Everybody drop your favorite Super Bowl of all time in the comments, and make sure to drop your Super Bowl winner and MVP picks in the comments as well as our betting lines of 11 on Taylor Swift being shown from the first kickoff to the final whistle.
And over under, does Buckner have his wife barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen during the game? All right, I'm sorry. Okay.
Terrible. I'm so sorry. Yeah, terrible. But Jay, we'll finish off on your favorite moments of this NFL season.
The first couple games of this year were my favorite. It was watching the Vikings beat the 49ers and, like starting off hot. And I don't know. I don't know if I have individual favorite moments, right? There's favorite games. And then favorite things of like watching Sam Darnold play in the middle of the season was a lot of fun. Those kind of things to me. But if I have to pick one moment, it's watching the Detroit Lions lose in the playoffs.
Yeah, I nearly put that one as well. I nearly put the Detroit Lions losing to the Commanders. It felt vindicating. Like Ben Johnson calling a trick play that got picked in the playoffs felt good to me. It felt good. Not that we're massive haters or anything. It's just we kind of sold the big ship on the Detroit Lions over the past 2 years. I nearly put that one. But yeah, for you, Jay, you've had a great season. Like, the Vikings have played really well, but until the last 2 games of the season, the Vikings played really good. So
they've lost 4 games this year. They lost 4 games this year to 2 teams.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think you can see that the Vikings project and KOC and everything is working really well. So, like, feels like a good year for you. Obviously, terrible year for me, for the Dallas Cowboys. But my favorite moment of the year was winning fantasy football again for the 3rd time in 4 years. Very happy with that. Thank you, everybody who is in our fantasy football league. Guys, if you want to get involved in a fantasy football league, then do let us know. But my favorite moment of the year was Kevontae Turpin taking a kick return 99 yards against the Washington Commanders to win the game, where he dropped the ball at the start of the return, did a spin that faked everybody out, and then basically walked it in untouched for 99 yards. That was my favorite moment of the
season. Commanders Hail Mary against the Bears was pretty dope too.
There was a few Commanders moments in there, and then I was like, I am a Cowboys fan. Like, I am gonna have to come down on the Commanders like pretty soon. I basically switched into anti-Commanders over the past couple of weeks, I think, after they've lost. But yeah, after they lost to the Eagles. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Everybody, enjoy your Super Bowl coverage. Remember to like, subscribe, comment your favorite moments of this season, your Super Bowl picks for the MVP, and our over-under on Taylor Swift appearances from first whistle to which is at 11 currently. Jay, send us out like you always do.
All right, like Maddie said, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.